Bo Byrne is here with a recipe that is sure to warm you up and fill you up. What are we making today?
This today is going to be Salisbury steak and mashed potatoes.
Oof, so good.
Which is the short list. That's my if I was on death row, this is the meal my mom would get called up
Right.
and she would have to cook this for me.
Meal of choice. I love it.
This is the one. So what we're going to start with today for this Salisbury steak is essentially kind of like making a meatloaf or a meatball style of a filling. So the first trick to it is going to be to grate some onions, and I like to use a simple box grater like this and really grate the onions, and you'll see by doing this you'll get a lot more juice out of the onions by doing so, and we really want that. That's going to be really crucial for this next step here, because what we're going to be adding to this is we're going to be adding some breadcrumbs.
Okay.
And if I don't add breadcrumbs to it, what my mom would actually do more traditionally for her would just be to use some regular bread, just some white bread, just ripped up. But in this case, what we're going to be looking to do is use the juices of the onions to kind of break down and soften the breadcrumbs. So it's not just a dry breadcrumb any longer. It's really going to be gonna fill this right up. So now we're gonna add a little bit of some egg to that as well. And the rest of this mix for me is a little bit of dried mustard, or you can use some prepared mustard, some fresh garlic, Worcestershire sauce, and I personally like to do a little bit of some barbecue. Some folks, when they do this, they like to use a combination of some ketchup and some mustard, you know, to each their own. So in either case, you really want to kind of get this mixture together here and let this soak up into the bread before you add your beef to it. And that's all that I add. I usually just add ground beef to it, but you absolutely could use a combination of pork and beef or ground lamb.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Love it.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little bit of some bacon fat, and I'm going to take these Salisbury steaks, and you could form them into really whatever shape that you want to. I'm going to kind of form them here into these kind of oval sized patties.
Is thickness key here, or?
You don't want to go too thick, but you also don't want them paper thin. So you want to kind of really find that happy medium. And what we're looking to achieve is we're looking to get a good sear, a good crust here on the outside of these patties, of these Salisbury steaks, just to get a little bit of a crust on them like this on both sides. And then what you're going to be looking to do is you're going to be looking to kind of move them to the side as you then start the gravy. So at this point here, I would probably move these to a side plate like so.
Yeah.
And then I would begin everything I need for my gravy. So for me, that's going to start out, in addition to that little bit of bacon fat that's in there, I'm just going to put in a little bit more butter. And then we're going to add some onions and some mushrooms.
All right.
So I have a combination of mushrooms here. These are white button, king mushrooms, king oysters, and some beach mushrooms, some white and brown beach mushrooms. So you could do whatever you wanted to, and if you weren't into mushrooms at all, you can just skip that step altogether.
There you go.
I like to add them in here, and just for a few moments, start to saute them like this. And then we're going to add just a little bit more butter to this pan. And as these mushrooms start to saute and break down, we're going to add a little bit of flour here. We're going to try to make a roux, a very simple roux right in the pan here with the butter and the flour. It's about equal parts. I did about 3 tablespoons of each. And we're just going to kind of let this start to coat all the mushrooms like so. So if you don't want to use a roux, some other things you could use are a slurry, which is a cornstarch and water thickening agent. And so we'll just add a little bit of that stock to here. And then as this continues to cook down, we'll reintroduce these Salisbury steaks that we started earlier. Now they just have achieved a little bit of a crust on them. We'll pop them back into the pan, and then over the course of the next 15 minutes or so, as this gravy thickens, the breadcrumbs will absorb some of that moisture and some of that flavor.
Oh my gosh.
It's absolutely delicious, mouth-watering. So we have a few here that we've already taken this all the way through on. So I typically start, if I'm going to be plating these, I do a little bit of maybe some mashed potato.
Oh, can't go wrong there.
With a little bit of these Salisbury steak. It's one of my absolute favorites. So right over the top like that.
Super easy.
Super
now,
easy,
while these
delicious.
are cooking too, are we supposed to flip these at any time, or you just keep them on the one side the whole time?
I usually just flip them once. And then if we came in here, maybe we've got some really nice, simple butter warmed vegetables, some beautiful broccoli and some corn here, just like this. So now we'll just
Oh, that
maybe
looks
come in here like
great.
this and hit it with a little bit of some crispy onions like that.
Oh, I love it. I love
Broccoli and corn, mashed potato, Salisbury
it.
steak.
Can't go wrong. This all looks perfect, actually. Love it. Chef Bo Byrne, thanks so much for stopping in, showing us how to make this. We'll have the recipe, of course, for you right on the 207 section of our website. Stay with us. We'll be right back.